Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. My name is Janie, Charlot, and welcome to a new episode. Today, I'm talking about the subconscious mind. All right, we're going to go deep beneath the layer. I think we all know about the conscious mind. That's literally what we're conscious of, what we could see, taste, smell with our five senses. But a lot of times, it's the subconscious mind that we don't understand. And the subconscious is actually running 90% of our life. All right. This is also piggybacking off the episode Mastering Your Vibration, because sometimes you're stuck at a vibration, you're stuck at a frequency, you're stuck in an emotion, you have a blockage. And it's because there's something in that subconscious mind that you are unaware of. But once you bring the subconscious conscious, healing breaks through and the healing comes quickly. This is how some people could stay in therapy 20, 30 years and they have no breakthrough. It's because the therapist is not getting to that subconscious layer, all right? And they're not going back. A lot of times programming starts in utero, from utero all the way to 7, 8 years of age, okay? Tons of research out here that's showing that when a woman is pregnant, the emotion she has, the environment she's exposed to, the things she's putting in her body, that child is also exposed to that. So there's no reason why if a woman is addicted to drugs when she's pregnant, that whatever emotions she's addicted to, if she's being physically abused when she's pregnant, why that child will not also have some emotional issues. And then they come in, they become adults, and they're not sure of what's happening. Okay, so we're going to break all of that down. We're going to go beneath the layer, and I'm going to show you just some visuals so that you could have, because a lot of times is we hear things, we don't quite understand it. And it's just important for us to understand that we all have the ability to heal ourselves. All right. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think when we get understanding of what's happening with us and we allow healing to come, we could get healing. Healing, again, is also our birthright. So we're going to dig deep into the subconscious mind today. Now, I want to kind of get started. And actually, before I share my screen, okay, before I do that, I want to talk about the Hermetic Principle, the universal law, the law of nature that goes with this episode. Okay, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm pulling this out of the air and I'm making this up. No, this is law. All right. And this is how we start to heal ourselves and we start to get in alignment and we start to create the life that we want. Now, this law says that the all is mind, the universe is mental. That law states that the mind is the origin of everything in the universe, both tangible and intangible. It doesn't mean that the universe only exists in the mind of humans, but rather it's an expression of a universal mind that goes beyond personal awareness. So the universe is mind, the universe is mental. So if you get a deeper understanding of that, it's almost like the prime creator is mind. And we are all in the mind of the creator, and we are individual expressions of the mind of the creator. But most importantly, I want you to understand that this episode is based on that universal law and principle. And if you understand this law and you start to get in your own subconscious mind and the programming and reprogram yourself, right? Take that old software out and reprogram yourself, you could have the life that you want. All right. Now, I'll go ahead and share my screen so that I could kind of give you guys a visual as we kind of go into the subconscious mind. Now, let's talk about the mind. All right. We know that the mind is not physical. Our brain is, right? The brain has a weight. Science has proven that. We know where the brain resides in the physical body. So the brain is physical, but the mind is not. We can't see our mind, okay? The mind is your consciousness, all right? Is your perception, your ability to perceive things, okay? Awareness, right? When we say awareness, that's also a part of your mind. What are you aware of? And then what are you not aware of? Awareness, being aware. Personal awareness is most important, okay? Because some people have no personal awareness. And if you have no personal awareness, you cannot be aware of the people or the things, anything else going on around you, okay? So consciousness, perception, awareness, ability to be aware, just your ability to be aware, okay? This is all part of your mind. The mind is everywhere. The universal principle says that it exists beyond the human mind. So your mind is just yours. It exists everywhere. All of the universe, multiple dimensions, okay? That is the mind. It's everywhere. It exists outside of the brain. Like I said, the brain is our physical part, okay? The mind is what you cannot see. And this is good because the subconscious is all about what you cannot see with your five senses. So we're going to get real comfortable with tapping into that awareness of things that we cannot see, all right? The mind connects us all. That is universal law. That's the law that I just said. It connects us all. In consciousness is how we are all connected, according to the universal principle that the all is mind, the universe is mental. All right. And our mind is also our thoughts, right? Your thoughts are not physical, right? But they're out there. They're out there. And do you know how many thoughts we have a day? Thousands. We have thousands of thoughts. And research is showing that when you hold a thought for 17 seconds, more thoughts like it come to you. So if I am just down in a bad funk and frequency and I'm angry and all I'm talking about is just what this person didn't do and why they didn't do it, and I've been going on this rant for 30 minutes, don't you know how many other thoughts I just attracted to me? All right. All right. Now, that's important. Now, let's go ahead and tackle the subconscious mind. All right. The mind has three parts, okay? The conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. Now, I'm going to tap on the conscious and the superconscious real briefly. I really want to zone in on the subconscious mind. Now, as you can see, this picture is an iceberg, okay? And at the top, and I'm sure you all know what an iceberg is, out in the ocean, there's a big block of ice that you could see. But the thing about that iceberg, there's a whole big block of ice at the bottom that you can't see. So our conscious mind is 10% of our life, literally 10%, right? So, and that consists of our willpower, our long-term memory, logical thinking, and critical thinking. 10% of your mind. These are basically our five senses. It's our physical world. Our five senses literally govern the conscious mind. Everything we could hear, see, smell, and taste is our conscious mind. The thing about the conscious mind, it is limited. It is so limited, and it's only 10% of who we are. However, this is where 90% of humans live or choose to live their life, in the conscious mind. If they can't see it, if they can't hear it, if they can't touch it or smell it, for them, it doesn't exist. Okay? So that's your conscious mind. Now let's go beneath the surface, all right? And this is beneath the surface. And this is why healing requires beneath the surface. And this is why, just as a nurse practitioner and healing people physically, I was limiting my ability to truly heal people. And, I had to say, no, we're gonna go beneath the surface, and we're gonna align mind, body, and spirit for true healing. Because if we don't look at the 90% that's running our life, and we only slap a Band-Aid on the 10%, we're missing it. All right. So your subconscious mind, 90%, includes your beliefs, your emotions, your habits, your values. All right. Those reactive and protective reactions that you have when you just react, that's all from a subconscious programming. Long-term memory, but it also consists of your imagination and your intuition. Okay. So creativity comes from the subconscious mind. That's why you have to be inspired in a deep way to tap into creativity, because it's coming from the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind never sleeps. Okay. Your dreams at night are within the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the soul you. This is the real you. So if you dream a lot, go ahead and get you a dream journal and write your dreams down, because this is your soul trying to communicate to you. And what the soul does, repressed memories. Remember, this is also long-term memories. So things that you have repressed, suppressed, shoved under the rug, and you don't want to look at it, all is in your subconscious mind. So sometimes when you get on this healing journey and you start tapping into your soul and the things that have to be healed, your subconscious mind will bring that to the surface, which is your conscious mind, so that it could be healed. And a lot of times that happens through dreams. All right. So your subconscious mind is your inner you. It is 90% of who you are. It is your soul journey. And this is a big part of your current life that you're living, is in your subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind has 4 parts, right? Emotional, lower astral, upper astral, and mental. I'm not going to get into deep detail on that. I just want to talk about the subconscious mind. And I wanted to pull this up so that you guys could really look at how huge the subconscious mind is, and how much of who you are is lying beneath the surface. Okay. Now, real briefly, the superconscious. All right. This is considered our Christ consciousness. This is our Christ consciousness. Now, I will say that Christ consciousness is a state of mind, right? If we're talking about the mind, we got to understand that the mind is not a place we go to. It's not a destination. It is a mindset. Okay. It is literally a mindset, right? If I go back to this other picture, it's our perception, it's our awareness, it's our ability, right, to be aware. Okay, so is not a destination, it's not a place you get to. So Christ consciousness is living your heaven on earth, right? This is that euphoric feeling that you're one with everything and everything is one with you, and you really can achieve that, right? Some people call it enlightenment, some people feel it's a euphoric state, right? But it is when you consciously and mentally get there. Okay. So subconscious mind is so important. Now, I want to talk about the programming of the subconscious mind and reprogramming of the subconscious mind. Now, I'm going to stop sharing this for a second so that I could talk about the programming. Okay. It's so important to understand your programming and why it's there. Okay. And then what you do is you look at it and you choose to unprogram it. And there's a lot of ways to do that. But literally our mind is nothing but what we choose to think about or do repetitively. Okay. So there's healthy ways to deal with what's happening in the subconscious mind, and then there's unhealthy ways to deal with it. Let me show this other picture too real quick, because I showed this before, and I also want to just, yeah, let me go ahead and show this real quick. Okay, as you can see, this is the layers of the energy body. Okay, and the reason why things affect us so much is because, one, we're energy. I've said that a lot. You could go back and watch some other podcasts. I talked about it on the Mastering Your Vibration podcast. And we have to understand how energy affects us. This is considered the layers of the energy body. So as you can see, the physical body is here. This is the heaviest, densest part of us, but it's also only what we could physically see, what we're conscious of. All these other bodies exist, but we're unconscious of it. Okay. So as you can see, right next to the physical body, all right, is the etheric body. And this is where physical trauma imprints in your subconscious mind. Okay. So when you have physical trauma, and the thing is, each of these energy layers affects each layer beneath it. Okay. Physical trauma is right next to the physical body. All right. Next to that astral body is emotional imprints, as you could see there. All right. So any emotional imprints, our physical imprints, will literally affect you physically. Okay. And emotional imprints is like if you grew up in a household and there was a lot of yelling and a lot of cussing, and your parents, one parent was verbally or physically abusive to the other, and you witnessed that, those imprints lodges into your body, but it also lodges into your emotions as well, and it becomes an imprint. So you may always react with a anxious thing, a constant need to prove yourself, or a feeling of not worthy. Is a multitude of things on how that can imprint, right? But I want you to understand that these is real. Like, there's real imprints, emotional imprints that's occurring and affecting you physically while you live out this physical life. Okay. Now, you have soul imprints, which is in the mental body, and you have spiritual imprints, which is in the causal body. I'm not going to go into deep detail with that. I just want everyone to understand that your subconscious mind is 90% of who you are. All right. Literally, this is your physical body right here, which is only 10% of who you are. 10%. All of these other layers of you is 90% of who you are. So you have to go beneath the surface to figure out what's happening with you. Okay. And as you can see, we get physical trauma and it's imprinted in us, in our subconscious mind. We get emotional imprints imprinted in our subconscious mind, right? Soul imprints and spiritual imprints. All of these things become imprints, right? And each layer of this has to kind of clear. And when it does clear and you get in alignment, you'll feel that complete flow of energy up and down, and you'll get downloads, and you'll understand things, right? You might have heard someone say your higher self. Well, up here in the casual spiritual imprints is your higher self, and your higher self is perfect. It is completely perfect. It knows everything about you, but it's trying to help you to align with that perfection. But as we know, we got all this stuff that's clouding how much we can actually get down here in our physical body. All right. So I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on that. I just want to give some background and some understanding on how deep but how amazing this is once you understand it and you start to understand yourself, then you understand the power to heal and tap into the subconscious mind. Okay. Now, I want to give you basically, let me pull that back up so that we could have that visual of the subconscious mind again. That iceberg, I think, is just very, it gives you that visual of what's happening. Now, you have to evaluate all of this, right? So if there's something you want to create in your life, but you have a belief, a limiting belief about it, okay? And let me just give you an example. Let's say you want to create wealth, but you come from a background, right? 0 to 7 years old, where it was a struggle. Money was tight and it was a struggle. So you have a limiting belief of lack. Okay. You have to tackle that lack and transmute that into abundance. Okay. And abundance is not just finances. Abundance is in so many ways: wealth, health, knowledge, it's so many things that we're abundant in. Okay. So limiting beliefs. All right. All of that has to be transmuted. That's just one thing. Perhaps you come from a limiting belief that once you hit 40 or 50, your health goes down. There's so many people I speak to that talk about, oh, well, once you hit 40, everything starts breaking down. That's a limiting belief. Don't ever speak that. Don't ever speak that. And our words have power. That's going to be a whole nother podcast. Limiting belief. Okay. Like, evaluate your beliefs, because it's running a program in your subconscious mind. Okay. Running the program. There's just so many limiting beliefs. I'll just use, because this is current right now, let's talk about politics, right? If your parents voted Democratic or Republican, and that's all you've ever known, and that's what people have always told you, oh, just vote Democratic or Republican, but you don't even know why. You haven't even looked up the policies for yourself. You haven't even made that decision for yourself. That's a limiting belief. That's because the belief is in your mind that that's what you should be voting for. All right. Limiting belief. A program running in your mind. Okay. So you see how beliefs make 90% of who we are. And sometimes we're stuck in these situations and we don't even understand why. It's because there's a belief, and it's a limiting belief. And the reason why I say limiting is because it's limiting your perception, your view of life. And it's also limiting what you can have or what you can achieve in life as well. Okay. Let's talk about abandonment. Okay. That's a real belief. We have people who were abandoned, as children, for one reason or another, where they were given up for adoption. I had a podcast. I actually interviewed a young lady about that, and she said it ruled her life a great part, up into her 20s, and she couldn't understand why. And she was destructive. She had a lack of self-worth and self-love, but she had an abandonment issue, and that was a limiting belief. It was real, but she had to go back and heal that, because what happened was she was adopted. She had a regression, and she felt those emotions from her mother of not wanting her. And then she also felt being left in a crib, whether it was in a foster care or whatever, and just crying, right? So those were real abandonment emotions that she had, and she could never understand it. But again, subconscious running the program beneath here for all those years of her life. Okay. So I want everybody to really examine your beliefs. Okay. Um, Perhaps, you were told that, as a woman, you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and you've attracted a certain type of man to you, or and vice versa as a man, right? You have to really examine that belief and try to figure out, where does that come from? Where does that come from? Because the program is running, and running your life. All right. Our emotions, big, 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 big. I'm going to share really quickly. I'll go back to, our emotional frequency picture. Okay. Emotions are in your subconscious mind. So let's say you're stuck somewhere down here. All right. I'm going to just say fear, because I'll tell you 90% of humanity is in fear. And that's because it is a subconscious programming. It is a subconscious programming that we've been programmed into. And 90% of humans live their life in fear. But it is a programming. It is a programming. Okay. So we have to face our emotions, and then we have to transmute them into a higher emotion. And while I'm here, I want to talk about transmuting emotions, because that's important. And one of the things I do highly recommend is that you can't escape these emotions, because on the picture I just showed you, it is a part of your energy field, right? We have to clear them, we have to heal them, then we have to transmute them. So I do recommend 4 steps though in doing that. Number 1 is understanding what you're feeling. Okay. So if it is fear, what are you fearing? Is it security? Is it finances? Is it being alone? Is it a fear of death? If you're going through a health battle, what are you fearing? What are you fearing? So you have to understand what you're actually feeling, because you could present one way, but that's not necessarily the true feeling. Like, I used a young lady who had the abandonment issue. Her life was becoming destructive, right? She was angry, but it all stemmed from an abandonment. So we have to really understand what we're feeling, right? And her anger, she was angry, probably at her parents because she didn't feel loved or cared for, whatever it is, right? So you have to understand what you actually feel. Okay. Then you have to allow yourself to feel that emotion. What you cannot do is suppress, push it under the rug, because guess what? Is in that subconscious mind, in that bottom part, and all it's doing is just waiting and waiting and waiting until you're finally ready to look at it, and it's going to come rushing up, right? It's going to become very conscious for you to see it. All right. So you have to feel it. Now, I always tell people, give yourself enough time to feel the emotion, but you cannot drown in that emotion. You cannot wallow in that emotion too long, because now what you've done is allow that emotion to take over you. And emotions are beautiful. It is our manifesting superpower. The key is we have to be masters over the emotion. We can't allow the emotion to be masters over us. And I'll tell you, as a woman, emotions have just gotten a bad rap. We're not supposed to feel it. We're not supposed to, show it. We're not supposed to express it. And I think that's another suppression, right? Because this is our manifesting superpower. And this is a great part of women. It's a great part of everybody. As you can see, it's 90% of who we are as humans. But as women, we literally have emotions, but this is what makes us women. Okay. And it's beautiful. We just have to be masters over it and not allow it to be controlling our lives. All right. So once you understand it, once you feel it, and again, give yourself time to feel that emotion, but you don't drown in emotions. Okay. You don't wallow in it. And, I say anything past a few months where you're not able to come out and in, then it's time to come out of that emotion. Okay. All right. Then you have to heal it. All right. This is the part that we're skipping. People are not healing their emotion. They rather avoid it. So they rather do everything under the sun than to heal that emotion because they don't want to have to look at it. They don't want to have to go beneath the surface, like I just showed you on that iceberg, and heal it. But you will end up in a loop. You will end up in a loop until you heal it and you transmute that emotion. So for example, if you are in fear, you want to transmute that to a higher emotion of acceptance. All right. If you're in guilt or shame, you want to transmute that into a higher emotion of joy or peace. Okay. Wherever you're at and it is heavy and it's low, you want to transmute that into a higher emotion, and you have to heal it. You can't avoid it. You can't suppress it. You can't stuff it under the rug. You have to look at it and you have to heal it. And a lot of times it requires you going down into that subconscious mind, figuring out the programming, figuring out, where does this come from? Did it come, did somebody tell me I was not worthy and I believed them? And now I have this unworthy, thing about myself. Did I have a narcissistic parent that nothing was ever good enough, right? And then now I have this sense of unworthiness. What is it and where does it stem from? We have to heal it. We cannot skip this step. Okay. Then once you heal it, then you transmute it into a higher vibration. Healing, and I'm saying these 4 steps, but it just depends. It's not going to happen overnight, I'll tell you that. But it just depends on how much you're willing to put in the work to actually feel this, look at this, heal this, and then transmute it. Okay. And this is true inner alchemy. This is true inner alchemy. When you are transmuting a frequency that's held you down for a long time and you heal it. Okay. So what a lot of people do also is that they come up with unhealthy ways to deal with the emotions. So instead of feeling that unworthiness, they'll go get addicted to drugs or addicted to alcohol. They, become excessive shoppers. They'll participate in, risky sexual behavior. Those are all unhealthy ways to heal. Okay. Now, healthy ways, I always recommend is feeling it. So sometimes you might have to cry it out, because a cry is a release. It is your soul releasing it. Okay. Your soul has brought that up from the subconscious layer to the conscious layer, and it's a release. So sometimes crying it out really releases that stuck energy and that stuck emotion. Okay. But I definitely do not recommend that you just suppress emotions at all. All right, I'm sharing that again. Okay. So that was emotions. All right. Your habits. Okay. I'm gonna give you guys this example because it's interesting. My son, he's 15, and every night before bed, he goes and he pops popcorn. When I'm like, okay, Miles, it's time for you to go to bed, he goes and pop popcorn. So, but when he was young, that was our thing. We would at night, it was kind of our bonding time. We would pop popcorn, we would sit on the couch, and we would maybe watch a TV show, and we did it forever, right? So I asked him, I said, are you hungry for the popcorn, or is this just a habit? And he was like, I don't know. But I know it's a programming because we would do it all the time when he was young. So now he eats popcorn at night, and it's because between the 0 to 7, we was eating popcorn at night, and it was just our bonding time. But now I'm like, do you even want popcorn? Because he does it all the time. He'll do it all the time. So I think it's now a program in his subconscious mind, and that's a habit. right? So we have to look at these habits. Or do you have destructive habits? I just talked about, addictions, different things that become habits. What is the programming in your subconscious mind? Positive habits are good. If you could adopt things that will benefit your life, bring health, bring love, bring joy, vitality to your life, I think it's amazing. But we have to watch the habits, right? Are you pouring that glass of wine every night, every single night, because you've had a hard day and this is how you unwind, all right? And now that one glass has become two glasses, and now you're unconsciously, you're not even thinking about, do I even want wine? It's not even that you want it, is that this has become your way of relaxing and going to sleep because you've had a long day. So these are programs running in the subconscious mind. Sometimes when people eat the exact same thing all the time, that's a subconscious habit. You're not even thinking about it, is a program. I mentioned this before, when you get on a bicycle as a child and you learn how to ride a bicycle, and now you know how to ride a bicycle, you'll never forget. It's in your subconscious mind. It's a program that's running. So we could have healthy habits, but sometimes we have very unhealthy habits, right? So if, you're constantly reacting to people, you go off on people, you have road rage, like there's things that people do unconsciously, you're abusive to your children or your spouse. These are not healthy. And you have to literally get in that subconscious mind and figure out the programming. Where did it come from? Okay. And you have the power to take that old software out and reprogram with something positive. Okay. So that's pretty much all I have. As you can see, values, these are all things that you have to kind of evaluate. Protective reactions, long-term memory, imagination, intuition, all these are in your subconscious mind. And the most important thing to know is that this is what's running your life. It is what's literally running our life. And we're not choosing to look at it. 90% of the people live in their conscious mind. That's where 90% are up here, only what you could see. And this is being ignored and not understanding why. Okay, but we have the power to heal and we have the power to reprogram our subconscious mind. So the biggest part, I just wanted everybody to understand what the subconscious mind is and how it's affecting you emotionally, beliefs, habits. Take some time to evaluate this. Are you running an old program? And is it time to change? All right. And when you're ready to change, I promise you, all the answers will come to you because your higher self is waiting for that alignment. All those other energy layers that come out and go above is waiting for that alignment. All right. So that's it, guys. Subconscious mind. My name is Janie. This has been another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. I appreciate you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, lots of love, lots of peace, lots of balance, lots of harmony. Take care.